My name is Oszie Tarula. I was born in Guadalajara, Mexico, and I was raised in Nayarit, Mexico. And then at the young age, migrated to LA, California. So that's me. I am also the founder of Hola Metaverso, an events and content company, and an NFT collection called Primo Bots. Um, so I think before I go into this slide, I'd like to go into why Hola Metaverso and why my focus in Latin America. So, as I mentioned, I'm an immigrant from Mexico. Um, Late 90s, early 2000s, I was accepted to an engineering school, but I had no idea on what to do next. I got that letter, I smiled for a week, and then we're like, what do I do now? Who do I call? Or where's the door that I go into, right? And I had no idea about finances. So luckily, I found the internet, and throughout the internet, I made a complete career as a front-end developer, as a digital media director for the last about 9 years at UCLA, which is the University of California in LA. There, I managed video, websites, photography for the engineering school. However, I felt like all this was passing me by, right? These new technologies, this new technology that's right in front of us, although UCLA is a great place to work, I did not want to sit there for the next 20 years watching these new opportunities pass me by, right? So I left UCLA and I started doing what I enjoy, which I think is a similar story to a lot of people that I've met here, right? You stop doing something that is not in your passion. Although I was doing something that was in my passion, I wasn't completely immersed in this Web3 space, right? So I left UCLA, I left my pension, I left stability, I left my Mexican dad saying, you know, huevón, right? You just, you just left your job because you're lazy, right? I started doing what I enjoy, and I've been producing events since I was 16 years old. I started back in the house music days, electronic warehouses. I mean, you name it, right? We partied everywhere and all around Southern California. So at the same time, I discovered this community on Twitter, right? And this community on Twitter is all across the world, but also I focus, of course, my passion in Latin America, finding the Spanish-speaking audience, the Latinos that I connected with. And I also feel like I have a duty, right? I have a duty that these new technologies tremendously have helped me. I have family, I have a house, I'm able to invest. I've come a long way, I would say, right? So now it's my duty to come and tell other people in these communities to say, hey, technology can help you too, right? And these are the new technologies that are here. If you follow up with those technologies, you can do it too, right? So that's how Hola Metaverso was born. What if we started having events for underrepresented minorities? What if we started having events for Latinos in the US? What if we started having events for Latinos in Latin America, right? So we did. We had our first event in LA. We then had our second event in Bogota, Colombia. Then we had another event in Medellin. We had a meetup in Mexico City. And we've discovered that there's this huge, beautiful community behind the metaverse, which is new technologies, right? So what have I found? I want to give you that insight so now you know what I'm kind of going to go over is what have I found throughout my journey in Latin America, and a little bit technical information as well. And actually I'm going to start backwards in this case because sometimes we ask questions after, but I wanted to see if there was anyone here that had a specific question about Latin America, and if you do, please raise your hand, and I will answer it for you throughout my presentation. How's that? So if you have any questions, please raise your hand at anytime you like. And this is what I'll talk about: NFTs, the landscape, the opportunities and the talent, the challenges to adoption and fostering NFT adoption in Latin America, and the community and the artists. Some numbers, right? The worldwide market cap for NFTs, 85 million in 2020, 20 billion in 2021, 10 billion in 2022. The dip, right? Depends on where you see it. If you went from 85 to $7 billion, that's not a dip, but there was a huge dip. In Latin America, what does that look like? It's expected to grow by 48.4% to reach 5.87 billion, right? 51% of consumers in the region have made at least one transaction with crypto. So you can see the adoption just by these numbers, how fast this is growing. Well, what I've seen this past year is going to grow by 50%. Artists, marketplaces, tools, talent, everything. And I can see why that is the case. Gotta check my time. Okay. NFT landscape in Latin America. Large brands have launched NFT collections. NFTs are supporting local artists. NFT marketplace Minteo raises $4 million. That's happened about 6 months ago. Artists and technical talent. There's a tremendous amount of talent in Latin America, both business developers, programmers, artists, and they're discovering these tools and using these tools. And again, this is only the beginning of their discovery. More light bulbs will switch up in Latin America. And that's the one point about artists and technical talent. There's a tremendous amount of talent. And cities are becoming blockchain hubs, right? I had the chance to go to Bogota, actually Medellin, but Medellin, I was impressed by actually all the cities, but Medellin to me, it seemed like I stayed at the university. The university is, their strengths are 3D and metaverses and gaming. So it's right, you know, I don't think I could have asked for a better university to stay at. And in the same Medellin, they have 5 companies creating 5 different metaverses, complete metaverses from characters to landscape. And Mexico City, I'm not sure if you're all tuned into Mexico City, but Mexico City has grown also tremendously, and not only in the Web3 space, but a Web2 space. People are finding that they can go and work in Mexico City just as they can work in any other international city in the world for a lot less and a lot better food. Yeah. Yes, no, yes. So they're becoming, Sao Paulo, actually, I haven't had a chance to visit Brazil, but I'm hoping that either this year or next year we will. We had actually some connections with Brazil. We had a space. So, Brazil is the largest market in Latin America by everything. You know, you name it, they're the biggest market. I am anxious to discover that and see and feel it and how it is, right? They are leading in many ways. Buenos Aires, Venezuela, I'm sure you're all familiar with inflation there, right? Love the word inflation there, right? They've adopted these things to battle these issues, right? To have other options. Here we have 401k, stock market. We have, people invest in life insurance, you name it, right? And cars and when you present a whole new economic system to Latin America, you're talking about a life-changing experience for most of these people, right? And they're also, I think, from my perspective, in my opinion, a little bit more hungry to learn, right? Now they have access to, and this has been for a while, but now they have access to Harvard classes from Harvard, right? They can go to iTunes, Princeton, right? Whatever school we all want to get. But now they have those tools, and now they have an economic outlet as well, right? They don't have to have a bank account, an ID, or a corrupt government or a corrupt bank. All these different hurdles that Latin America has gone through, now they can just have an ETH address and connect with any of us all around the world, right? So, blockchain hubs. And then remnants, crypto remnants users, right? I forgot the numbers on this. I wasn't going to do a slide, but you can imagine all the amount of money that goes back from the US to our countries, right? I have tons of family in Mexico, of course. You know, either we started small businesses with them, either we send money to help them, whatever that is. Wow, that was fast, 10 minutes. I didn't get a chance to do all of them, but I really wanted to focus on my experience, right? And I think I gave you a little bit of insight of that. Again, these are some of the events we had and some of the communities that we met. And I joined everyone, you know, I invite everyone to any of our events to talk to any of our team members and get involved. It's a great experience. It's actually even helped me health-wise, right? Being out here with you all in cities and taking pictures and discovering new things, it's satisfying to us. And I think we produce better when we're fulfilled in that way. Thank you very much once again.